is a little news. Today we're going to talk about law without walls, and I would say, wow, what a headline! At first glance, we could say that at certain point, law builds some kind of walls. And to explore a little bit about this issue, let's say walls and laws, we will share some thoughts and ideas with Michele DeStefano. Michele is a professor of law at University of Miami, one of the most prestigious universities across the US. Hi, Michele, how are you today?
I'm so great. Thanks for having me here today, Augusto. And I love that you started with wow because everybody in Law Without Walls calls Law Without Walls LWOW. That's our acronym. So
Yeah,
it was perfect.
good. So, Michele, before diving into Law Without Walls, why don't you just tell us a little bit about you and what you do at UM?
Sure. So I'm a professor of law at the University of Miami and also guest faculty at Harvard Law School's Exec Ed program. And one of the things I teach is civil procedure, which is basically how to bring a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit, in the American court system
Mhm.
and different strategies and tactics related to that. I also teach courses related to innovation and also ethics. And at Harvard, I teach courses on leadership and transforming client relationships with innovation and client centricity. And in addition to that, I also run Law Without Walls.
Wow, wow, very good. And Michele, how did you came up with this idea of yes, a law without walls?
Yeah, well, partly because of what you said at the beginning. As you
Mhm.
know, the world of law is filled with so many walls and hierarchies and barriers to entry, both from an access to justice standpoint, as well as barriers and walls between academics and students. I know a lot of the students out there will know that exists. Walls between universities from different countries, universities of different rank, walls between law and business, walls between practice and education, and walls, not laws, walls between creativity and innovation and what we think of as lawyers. And what I mean by that is not that lawyers aren't creative, we are. But sometimes we forget where we put our crayons. And so I set out when I was a very baby junior professor, when I first got to UM, to break down those walls. And Law Without Walls is a community designed to do that, break them all down.
So you grab the hammer and then you start destroying all the walls.
Exactly. No
And you should,
offense to you, but there's in the Law Without Walls community, it's no ties allowed. Sorry, Augusto. Would make you take that tie off. And first name basis, exactly. And actually, we also broke down the walls because, you're doing it already.
yep,
Yes,
right.
part of the OL culture. I love it. Additionally, it may sound so blasé now, but back in 2010, we were part virtual. And that was also part of the walls we wanted to break down were the physical walls. So we would meet in person, about 200 of us, law and business school students from around the world, lawyers and business professionals, and we would kick off and get to know each other and do teaming exercises and create culture and commitment. And then we would go virtual for 3 months. And then we'd meet back in person again. So we did Zoom the first year Zoom came out. We used Adobe Connect. We used this thing called Zulu. I mean, we used so many different online platforms. And back then that was innovative. Today, not so much because everybody's online.
But I mean, Michele, you are the creator of this idea, aren't you?
Yep. Had a lot
Okay.
of help, of course. Any idea has a lot of people helping.
Yeah, right. Yes, I agree. And I know that, I've been, sniffing and surfing on the website, and I know that you're, I don't know, currently launching or doing something in Spain. Are you?
Yes, so we are yinging when everybody else is yanging.
Mhm.
In 2010, I said, as I mentioned, during our first program, and for the past 13 years, We've had both a part virtual program and an all virtual program that we started in 2013. Well, today and this year, we're doing an all in person sprint. 3 days, hosted by IE University, one of the best universities in the world, in Segovia, Spain, in March. Three
Right.
intense days together as a community in
Okay.
person. Yep.
And every lawyer, practitioner, or student around the world, they can join that program in Spain, in Segovia.
Well, we have an application process for students. So the students that will be there have already been selected for their
Mm-hmm.
creativity and ability to problem solve and interest
Oh,
in innovation
oh,
and entrepreneurship.
oh, I
And
see.
then we have actually the people that participate is a mix of volunteers who have done it before, who mentor and help project manage. And then we also have actually, it's a type of executive education program. So that's one of the coolest things about LWOW. We learn from the students and the students learn from us. And so big corporate law departments like from Spotify and HSBC and iManage, they sponsor, along with sometimes law firms like White and Case and Eversheds and Pinsent Masons, they sponsor a team. And what they do is they send 3 individuals to be the team leaders to work with the students and the mentors on the projects. And they also give us the topic, a real problem that that corporate legal department or law firm faces, a business of law challenge. And so those are the people that will be there in March, along with the volunteers
Seems
and the students.
seems exciting. From a practical point of view, I know that you have already said some of this, but would you just tell us what are the key goals of of this program? What are the key goals?
So most people that are part of Law Without Walls don't want to quit their day job. They want to continue being lawyers or consultants or marketers or advertisers or insurance brokers. And so they join not necessarily because they're going to create an innovative solution to a real problem. That's there, right? And that's the frosting. But the real cake, the real reason why people do LWOW is because we change mindsets, we change skill sets, and we change behavior. So, unlike traditional law school classes, and I get it, law school is different around the world. We're really, really diverse. We're the most diverse, culturally diverse, legal organization in the world, I'm pretty sure. And so I get that we're all trained differently and lawyers work differently. That said, we're a pretty traditional group all around the world for what we actually train current practicing lawyers to do and aspiring lawyers, law school students. And so Law Without Walls is basically designed to train those things that we don't spend enough time on. So self-awareness, humility, growth mindedness, flexibility, focus on problem finding versus problem solving, because we're good at solving problems, but sometimes we rush to solve before we ask why.
I know now why you caught my attention when I first learned about Law Without Walls, because I've been teaching creativity and flexibility for the last 20 years, in the corporate law. And well, results are, good and bad, whatever, okay? But now I see why I got stuck into, Law Without Walls, and I chat to you and said, do you want to have this conversation? Which fortunately you said yes, and we are here having this amazing chat with you. I mean, what is it to change the mindset of lawyers, which seems to be very hard to do? I mean, because from the school, we start with walls. So how? I mean, from law school, okay. Um, what are the? I mean, what do you do, guys, to change the mindset of practitioners and lawyers?
Well, what do I mean by it and what do we do? So, what I mean by it is after you go through Law Without Walls, the goal is for you to approach collaboration and
Mm-hmm.
working on a team differently. To think not of what is my piece versus your piece, and let's divvy it up. But instead, how can we use our diversity, our different approaches to problem solving to build on each other's ideas? How
Mhm.
can we start with not knowing a lot and actually learn a lot from each other? And that's pretty much the opposite of the way lawyers work. We like to show up really prepared, over prepared. We like to already have all the answers. And we don't really want to share with other people because that's risky, both from a quality of a work product standpoint. And it's also risky because we don't trust other people that they might know as much as we know or do the job as well as we do. But the world's changed. And there aren't any organizations out there that don't need multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary teams on sprints working flexibly with different mindsets. And this isn't just true of lawyers, by the way. You take any professional service provider, whether it's in engineering or in insurance or in HR, and they have a similar, they test similarly to lawyers in the sense that collaboration doesn't come so easy. So the goal is we put you in this situation where you actually have to behave differently. It's not acceptable not to behave differently. And we have you commit, write down, and say out loud how you will behave, what you will be focusing on, what skills you bring and you want to bring better, and what skills you want to hone. And we talk about those. And as you know, with any kind of resolution, if you say it out loud, you write it down, and other people know it. This is why we share our New Year's resolutions, like Dry January, which I just finished. Woo! When we share them out loud, then we do them. So practicing the new behaviors is the most important part of Law Without Walls, so that they become second nature. The most rewarding thing for me is when somebody says, "Nobody recognizes me at work. What have you done with Craig?" And what they mean by that is not that you've disappeared, but you're asking different questions in a different way.
And once you finish this program, is there any kind of, afterwards, some after the program training, a continuing legal or continuing law education?
Of course. So the best thing about Law Without Walls is the community. We like to say it's a little bit like the Hotel of California. You can check in, but you can never leave. So if anybody knows the song, and we say that because it's a catchy community. So Augusta, you're perfect fit. I mean, you took off your tie immediately, and what happens is we attract people who want to actually change, and so that we stay involved as a community. So we have what we call LWOW pop-ups about 2 to 3 times a year where we meet in different cities around the world. It's for an hour and a half, 90 minutes of content, sharpen those skills, and then networking. And one of the things that people in the community always say is it's the network that really, and the community that really keeps it afloat. And we have tons of people from around the world that send us pictures 3 years later that now they've run into someone else from LL or went and visited somebody from 5 years prior that they had never met that they reconnected through. So there's an ongoing community, as well as not this year, but again next year once we're done with all having to be virtual in our normal lives, or at least as virtual. We meet Wednesdays from January to April, 5 p.m. Eastern, which is sometimes tomorrow for our Australian folks, and early morning for our folks from China. And we have thought leader sessions on the changing legal marketplace. So there's tons of ways to stay involved, as well as to attend the LWOW programming as a mentor in a different role than whatever role you played the year prior. So that's also an opportunity. And of course, through my consulting company, Move Law, I often go in and consult and run innovation programs tailored after LWOW for corporate legal departments and law firms.
Good. So you mentioned creativity for lawyers. You mentioned as well that lawyers has to be like collaborative lawyers. Are these qualifications or assets or skills, uh, the skills that today businessmen and clients are demanding from lawyers?
Oh yeah. If you read the World Economic Forum report, the WF report, creativity, flexibility on the top for attributes for the future. we are training. So our students actually range from at the undergraduate level all the way up to about 40% are getting their master's and have practiced before. And the reality is the jobs of tomorrow haven't even been created yet, which is why we need creativity. And there is a leadership gap. If you take all the skills of a leader and you look back at Harvard Business Review or wherever you might want to find the what are the top 10 attributes of a leader, and you actually map them onto the top attributes of an innovator, they really mix in together well. And almost every survey by every consulting company is talking about the leadership gap. What companies are worried about is, do they have the leaders for tomorrow? And the leaders of tomorrow need to be inclusive, they need to be creative, they need to be collaborative, and they need to be adaptable. And training those skills, you just can't do it overnight. It's got to become second nature. And the only way to do that is to focus on ourselves first. We as individuals need to actually hone those skills and work on them. Go be a barista at Starbucks if you can't join LWOW, but learn what it means to be client centric. Learn what it means to really provide full service.
And for example, managing partners, are they attending this
There's a lot of
program
those
or
at the
not?
Harvard Law School program, yes. Managing partners, a ton of them are on board with this. I mean, it is not just do as I say. Managing partners around the world are flocking to executive education courses to reskill and upskill because they know this is the new league that they're playing in.
Yeah, right. Yes, good. So, Michelle, just to let's say a last question. Is there any kind of correlation? I think we have already talked about this, but let me just make it clear. Is there any kind of correlation between, these flexibilities and skills and career path or career development? Is there any correlation? Maybe yes, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you look at the top companies, most innovative companies of the world, and the top leaders, they actually have these traits. Also, look, life is long, and we
Or
all have
short,
multiple,
or
yeah,
short.
or short. It keeps going faster. Um, there's no such thing as one career anymore, right? So I spent what 8 years in marketing and advertising before I even went to law school.
Oh,
Then I
really?
worked in patent law. Then I was a special master and worked for the judiciary. Then I worked at a school at Harvard, helping set up the executive education program for the
Wait, wait,
back.
wait, wait, wait. There we have a key issue here because you have your, yes, because you have your background in creativity. I mean, marketing and all that. So you come from, that side of the world, and you came into,
Exactly. Which,
yeah, and
yes.
then you came, yeah, and then you came to the legal world, and now you say, hey, look, we have to make a mixed up here, and trying to, yes. So
Yes.
you're putting creativity into the law because you have that background somehow.
Yes, and actually, when you look at literature about how to get the most out of teams, it is absolutely critical that we figure out what everybody has in their background and they bring it, right? So maybe you used to be a lifeguard. Well, that's actually a great skill. It means you're good under pressure, right?
Yeah,
Bring
right.
it, right? We have to figure out all the things we did in our past and use them, exap them, and use them in new ways for our present jobs. And then think fast forward. What are the things you need to do to become a leader? You can't just stay in one thing. Can't be just a law firm lawyer or just an in-house lawyer or just a lawyer anymore. It's too narrow. The most successful leaders are going to have a multidisciplinary background. That's been proven. There's research that shows it. And know how to actually use that background to actually inspire, lead, and manage teams. And leading and managing are two different things.
Well, my first job was waitress, so I love to serve clients.
Two bartenders. Yep.
Okay, good. So, Michelle, how can we find out about Law Without Walls program?
So you can go to our website, lawwithoutwalls.org, or lwow, woo, lwow.org. You can email me, md@lawmiami.edu, or you can go to movelaw.com. You can link in with other people that have LWOW on their LinkedIn profile, wear it proud. And we are always looking for volunteers. And of course, we're always looking for really bright, creative students who want to join and apply for next year.
Awesome. And tell me, how are you doing in Latin America with LWO?
Great. We always have different schools from Latin America, and LATAM has been a corporate sponsor many, many years in a row, sending their professionals. And we've had lots of other types of business professionals from different corporations down in Latin America, including banks like Santander and others. So we have a good Latin American group from various different countries every year, and we welcome even more.
Good. Michele, it's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. I'm very thankful for your time. And well, I hope to see you again. And of course, the best for you and for your program. And you're doing a great, great job.
Awesome. And Augusto, if you want to come to Spain, let me know. I can already see you're dressed for it.
Okay, thank you so much. See you soon.
See you soon.